I knew this game was going to be like this. I knew it since watching their game last week against Cincinnati. I mean, a team that wins 32, 34, whatever some games they won last year that returns 11 players. I knew this was going to be like this. I knew it was going to be a war. They're too well coached. They're too experienced to come out and just get blown out. And I told our guys, and they knew it. It's just a team like that's tough because you can try to simulate it in practice as much as you want, but at the end of the day, they work on it every day. So, I thought the best part to me was I thought even though our offense wasn't obviously working in the first half, we didn't let it affect our defense. We held them to 37%. They were 5 for 24 from 3 for the game. Obviously they started scoring around the rim a little bit more than they do. But I told our guys before the game, I said, look, we have to defend the three-point line. And I said, you got to try to make this team beat you by making 2-point shots, and they couldn't do it. But, I would not be shocked if that team wins a national championship in Division II. I mean, they are that talented, they're that well coached, and they just play together. But, it was a good experience for us. Had a little adversity. Good for me, good for our players. But, we're happy that we came out on top, and now we got to get ready for Sunday because it starts to count. So, take a day off tomorrow and get ready on Thursday.
David, did you see any theme in the turnovers, especially a couple of the unforced early on?
Yeah, we were just being careless with the ball. We knew scouting report-wise, they're a heavy dig team, and what I mean by that is when you take a dribble towards the rim, they're going to have somebody converge on the ball and slap down, and we just didn't pay enough attention to it. We knew we had to get to the corners. Problem was the guy with the ball wasn't being strong enough, got it slapped out of his hands, and we just, you have to make the pass a little bit earlier. But, that's where this team has really improved. Bellarmine, defensively, they forced us into 20 turnovers. Some of them were careless by us, but, at the end of the day, we didn't let our offense affect our defense for the most part, which was good to see.
Like the team was rushing a lot early offensively, kind of forcing some passes. What does it take to kind of get those guys to kind of slow down, take a bit more time, to set things up offensively?
Well, a team like this, they work so hard to protect the paint that when you're a big dribble penetration team like we are and all of a sudden that's taken away, it's a little bit of an adjustment. Last week we were able to get in the paint a little bit more and kick out, but, you got to give them credit. A lot of it was us, just being careless, but a lot of it was them, defensively. They were locked in on what they needed to do. But, we made the adjustment in the second half. We didn't give up. Q got in the lane a couple times. Dang got in the lane a couple times and made the right pass, and, it worked out for us.
You played Q 37 minutes tonight. Is that something that you want to try to maybe bring down a little bit as you get?
Yeah, there's no question. We were in a little bit of a tough spot because obviously Ryan's out. Joe Griffin sprained his ankle and pretty good in practice the other day, so we didn't have him. And, Darius just had been practicing a lot at the 2 spot, and he'd been practicing well. So he and Q were in there together a lot. But, obviously we don't want Q playing 37 minutes right out of the gate. But at the same time, it was important that we had him on the floor. He's the one guy that, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, doesn't turn the ball over. So even though he didn't have a great shooting night, he didn't let it affect the rest of his game.
Jordan Nora picked up 8 rebounds off the bench. What are the biggest things you're looking for the young guys off the bench to come and contribute to the team?
I told him after the game, I thought Jordan and Darius both gave us very good minutes tonight. And that's because they practiced well since the game last week. Every day in practice, their mindset was really good. They were locked in on what we were trying to do. And, Jordan, he listened. I told him, as I think I mentioned last week, you got to do more than just try to shoot the ball. And he took that to heart. He was working on his defense this week in practice, and you see us 8 rebounds, which is huge, and we need our guards to rebound, and for him to come in 15 minutes and get 8 rebounds is huge.
David, before the second half started, you pulled BJ King aside. What did you tell him? Because he really came out very aggressive in that.
I just told him, I said, stay with it. He had a couple open threes. He made his first one of the game, but then it seemed like he couldn't really, I think he made 2 for the game, but he missed a couple wide open ones. I just, confidence is a big thing with VJ. I just don't want him to get down on himself. I said, you just got to play through it. Just try to impact the game in other areas. He struggled a little bit, but a lot of that too was what they were trying to do. VJ is very good at getting in the lane, and they took that away. But it's going to be like that some nights for some guys. But that's where we're fortunate to have a guy like Jordan just come in and get 8 rebounds. So it's good to have options to put in.
How would you describe your team's readiness with the season starting right around the corner?
I think we're in a good spot. Obviously, we got a lot to work on, as I'm sure all the other 350 teams in Division I would say right now as well. What I was pleased with was defensively, we didn't play well in stretches last week, and I thought we came out today In the first half, we held them to 37%, 23 from the three-point line, and they focused in on that. And like I said, just not letting our offense affect our defense. I mean, we were turning the ball over, we were missing shots, we were doing, kind of uncharacteristic things with the ball in the first half offensively, but we locked in on defense, and we held them to 23 points. But a team like that it's tough to prepare for, but it's also good prep for Sunday, because George Mason plays a little bit of a similar type system.
Coach had a chance to coach with you, David. Now, what did he get to say to you before the game? Did he give you anything in particular?
No, I mean, he and I have known each other for 13 years now. I obviously have a great relationship with him and his son. I just told him after the game, I said, look, you got a heck of a basketball team. I mean, and he knows that. When you have 11 players back from a 30-plus win season, you know that. But they're going to make some noise this year. I'd be really surprised if they don't. And it's a tough style to play against. I mean, you can do whatever you want to prepare for it, but if you can't simulate it in practice, it's tough to be ready.
Was that your plan to go kind of small when you did go to the bench? Is that why Malik Williams didn't get much run tonight? I just thought Dwayne Sutton, Jordan, and Darius had great days of practice leading up to this game. They seemed to understand it. They were locked in defensively, and a team like this, you're going to have to go small at times just because there's so much perimeter defending. But like I told them after the game, I'm just going to go with the guys who give me trust in practice, and I thought those three guys did that the most, and that's why they played.
You seem to have a message for Nance there during the first half play. I want to see a little bit more of it. What was your message?
I just told them we were just doing careless things. They were fronting the post. I said, if whoever the guy in the post is, just turn and seal him. The other guy, Flash, would be a wide open for a high-low. Ray turned and sealed him. Honest caught it, and then you just threw a careless pass out of bounds. I mean, it's just little things like that that are just uncharacteristic of our experienced guys. But, Honest, even though, he had 9 points, but he had 11 rebounds, 6 offensive, which was great to see. And, they adjusted, and you got to give them credit. They adjusted well, because we told them every time they drive the ball, they're going to look to pass. Well, in the second half, they knew that we were staying at home and not helping, so they started to score, and Honest started to protect the rim a little bit better. But he's got to be more assertive, and if he can, and I mean that from a defensive and a rebounding standpoint, but he responded and had 11 rebounds tonight.
Anything else for David?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.